Hello. Good morning, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Happy day. My allergies are driving me fucking nuts. I hope you're doing well. Happy Catter Day. I hope I hope your weekend is starting out well. I severely hope you got to sleep in at least a little bit. Socrates, isn't this sick? It's Mr. Biz. It's a drug dealing unicorn. I don't know how else to describe that. I have to change the music. I put on this weird list. I liked that first song, but I don't know how I feel about the rest of it. Thank you, Funk. Appreciate you. Allergies in winter. Woke up. It's so warm here. It's not like winter. That's the thing. It's like cold. It's like warm. It's been like in the 60s. So I can't help but think it's like, like fall allergies, like dead leaf allergies and shit. Yeah, it's been so like each night it gets freezing and it's like it might snow today. And then there's no snow. Like it's just warm. It's real weird. I went outside in my underwear last night. That's how warm it is. It's fucking weird. I had to get my dog. It's just weird. So, I don't know, like our weather hasn't chilled out to kill the allergy shit yet. Yo, Taco, how are you? No skiing in Colorado? Dude, I have no idea what the skiing is like right now. But in the history of living here, from what I remember, we genuinely don't get slammed by snow usually until like January, February, March. That's when we just start getting piled on and it doesn't go away. Like traditionally speaking, we usually get snow around Halloween and then it doesn't snow for like all of December. And then January, February, March, we'll get slammed. But I don't know how to ski. The desert is weird. High desert is weird. It really is very weird because it's like it's the desert, like, but it's you get fucking cold. But I've seen like I went out and did errands the other day and I saw what are they? They're not groundhogs. Uh, I fucking always forget what they're called. The little they look like meerkats, but they're not meerkats and they're everywhere here and people think they're noxious. Prairie dogs, prairie dogs. It's prairie dogs. I saw them out. Like normally in the winter they go underground and you really don't see them anymore because of the snow cover and everything. They're just out. Like when you're it's hard to explain like if you're driving around town and you just pass an empty lot, there will be hundreds of prairie dogs and little mounds and they sit on the top of their mounds like meerkats and do this like thing. But usually you don't see them all winter. It's so warm they haven't gone away. I saw geese that looked like they were going the wrong way last night, like they were coming back. Weird. I know. They were going the wrong way. Like, I'm used to seeing geese, and I was like, what the fuck? Everybody's confused. It's global warming. Same. I opened my windows and aired my house out yesterday. It was so nice out. It was weird. Good morning, Thread. How are you? Remember living in Colorado Springs and getting slammed when we came back from Christmas and it being so high we were just jumping into drifts from the third and fourth floor windows. That's happened. No shit. The first year I moved here, Socrates, I had a little Mazda 3 hatchback, little vroom vroom sports car. And she was great, like the best gas mileage, so much fun to drive, like but I had to trade her in. I mean, I was happy to because I love my Jeep beyond reason, but I had to trade her in because the first year I lived here, I parked my car out on the sidewalk and the first snow we got, I woke up in the morning, tons of snow and everything, opened the front door and my car is gone. And I'm like, did my car get plowed away? Like, what the? No, the snow literally buried my car. Like, it was higher than my little car. And I was like, oh, this is terrifying. I need independence. Like, I need to know I can get the fuck out if I want to. And I couldn't. You literally couldn't get my car out. It was buried completely. That was the first year living here. And I was like, oh, okay, I think I need a different vehicle. But I love my Jeep. My Jeep goes anywhere. I had to bring the beer I left outside into the fridge a few days ago. It wasn't cold enough out. I hate that. I love when it's cold enough to put stuff outside. I know. Good morning, Vex. How are you, love? I hope you got to sleep in. Armadillos? I wish. I don't think we have armadillos. Colorado has a lot of animals I've never seen though. Colorado's a huge state, and like most of the animals that I want to see are like in the range, like tarantulas and snakes and stuff like that. Just places that you don't really like. There's no reason to go there. It's private property. I don't like, you know what I mean? Whereas you go in the mountains and it's moose and elk and mountain goats. I don't know if we have bear or not, but I've definitely seen all the above. I've seen all of those animals. No shit. I think it was the first and only time my mom ever came and visited me here. And I took her and my dad on a drive through the mountains. And like the drive that I take does these switchbacks. It does this shit all the way up the mountain because I like to find places where people don't go and I like to go run with my dogs and shit. And so you're on these switchbacks. You can't stop on switchbacks. Like you can't, like you're literally, you know, slowing down to 0 miles an hour, taking a fucking right turn and then going up. And there was a baby moose and a couple other moose. I don't know. I was driving and my mom in the back seat is like, "Oh my God, there's moose. Stop the car. I want to take a picture." And I'm like, "Do you want to die? This isn't what you do. What? Don't stop for moose. Like, don't get out. What? There was a baby." Absolutely not. Like, I grew up in Eastern Washington where we have like wolves, coyotes, mountain lions, badgers, all these sorts of animals that are out all the time. I used to walk at midnight in the woods and not give a fuck. I would not do that here. I fear cougars and all of those animals much less than a goddamn moose. Moose will just rip you in half. Armored dildos have started to penetrate Colorado. I think armadillos actually have a lot of diseases. What do you mean wild animals aren't domesticated? I know. What a fucking weird concept. I know. I mean, the amount of times I'm seeing people just be real stupid with wild animals. I've told you guys that story of, so many goddamn, and leprosy. Yeah. They carry some gnarly shit, which is funny because, like, possums don't. And possums are heinous, and everybody's like, ew, possums. But possums actually eat ticks and are, like, necessary for eliminating tick populations and shit. Like, possums are great for the environment. I think armadillos probably are too, but they have diseases. Don't touch them. Don't touch wildlife. But years ago, when I was driving from Seattle to Baltimore to move there, I hit as many, like, state parks as I functionally could hit. And one of them was the Tetons, and the Tetons are easily one of the most beautiful things. I mean, every rock is a polished river rock. The lake is glass. Like, if you can ever see the Tetons, I highly advise it. It was just so stunning. It was just beautiful. One of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. But while I was there, I didn't see this, but I heard about it literally the day I was there. A father and son thought it would be a cute idea to take a baby bison and put it in their car. And then they took it to the rangers and they're like, "Oh, we found a baby bison." And they had to kill the baby bison because it was now like walking into traffic trying to be friends with people because of these dumbasses. It was fucking heartbreaking. People are stupid. Don't touch wildlife. Leave them alone. No shit, the 9-banded armadillo has been known to carry leprosy and scarlet fever, but that's the only species that carries it. Ugh, that's scary. And that's why nobody likes possums. They biting. They're freaking idiots. Yeah, it's just like, what were you thinking? Or like the things I did see while I was there. When you're driving into the park, it's just like this huge open flatland, and you see the mountains ahead of you, and you're just driving down this straight road right down the middle of this flat area, and that's where all the bison are. And there was a herd of them crossing the road. And, like, it's not like there's any park ranger there telling you. I feel it's just common sense. Stop your car and wait. The sheer amount of people that got out of their cars and tried to go touch bison. Like, I was watching it thinking to myself, like, I'm going to have to get out of my car and prevent a death here as a medical professional. I can't legally let you do what you're doing. People are so dumb. Sec! How are you, love? Oh, my God, Sec. Bitch. Do you remember when we were playing PoE recently and there was like the boss that was like the Sekhmet, blah, 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 and we were like, "Oh my God, look, it's Sek." It's a trial and it's fucking hell, and I just have to let you know you're named after the worst part of the game. It's so bad. I was cussing it out. I know. I knew you would be. I was cussing you out the whole time. I'm like, I have to tell Sek. This is so bad. It's literally this, it's these things called trials in the game. And they added this thing into it called honor, which is essentially as you're doing this trial and beating these characters in the sec thing, you can only get hit X amount of times, regardless of whether or not it's actually touching your health or you're dying, and you're done. You just fail. Over and over and over and over again. For a tank, it feels really good. Ah! No, it doesn't. I'm lying. It feels very bad. It's very bad. I'm afraid of mountain lions, but cougars turn me on. Hell. Beth got me things to start learning to be an apothecary. Oh my god, bitch, do it. I buy that kind of shit off Amazon. I mean, not Amazon, on Etsy. I love I usually, oh, here's one. It's so old. Nail oil. I love going on Etsy and finding, like, people that do, like, homemade apothecary stuff for, like, lotions and, like, nail oil, facial creams and stuff like that, and they make it out of natural stuff, but it's not dangerous. There's still, you know, preservatives in it, so it's not like I'm putting moldy shit on my face. But this is, what is this? Strong nail serum from, oh my god, I don't even know, but it's like an old school Victorian recipe. And then one of my friends from Burning Man makes homemade balms, THC balms. Literally, like, she handed these out as gifts at Burning Man. She made these adorable, and they even have a little label on them that say, like, what the THC is in them and shit. I think that stuff is so fucking cool. I'm really excited for you. Dude, try them. Try them. I have very hardy skin. Let's fucking go. Dude, Beth and I are perfect because we're literally in pain all the time. It's a great control study. Dude, I had the weirdest dislocate last night. I actually meant to text Beth about it and I forgot because it hurt. I was just walking around my house. I think I was vacuuming or something. And I went to spin on my left foot and my hip fell out. Like, all I did was this. I was standing and I did this thing and pivoted on this leg and my whole hip went thunk. And I just kind of stood there for a minute and had to, like, do this kind of thing with my leg and, like, I know. I run, I work out. I never get hurt doing those activities. Walking around casually, hip bone falls out. We must laugh. I don't know how else to get past this. Like, I just get stretchier and stretchier. I know. That's, I think, like, what kind of defines it, Knives, and which is scary, is as you get older, things just get more and more loose. That's not my pussy, but everything else, like my joints and everything. Like I was saying, oh my god, sick. I don't know if I told you this. This was last week. I fell in my bathtub, slipped, and caught myself with my arm that dislocates randomly all the time. And my arm just fell the fuck out. It was, yeah, stupid. But I mean, because of that, like, I dislocated my shoulder when I was like 16 or whatever, crashing into a tree snowboarding. Because of that, it's really likely to just dislocate all the time because of this, like, EDS shit. It just makes it so when my joints stretch out, they don't really go back. They stay stretched. So, like, my fingers fall out. Like, I think you can hear my fucking knuckles. They just crack all the time. Like, everything on me just kind of, like, cracks a lot because it's just loose and falling apart. I know. I work out. Like, I genuinely try to take care of myself so this doesn't happen all the time. But I know it's got to be a genetic factor because my little sister, same shit. Her hips, her knees. She's had spine and rib shit where they pop out. Like, she's got the same thing, and we're the only 2 siblings of my 8 that have the same parents. I know it's got to be a genetic factor in there. Like, I'm reckless, yes, but not normal. Like, a normal, healthy body, when you're walking around, your hip shouldn't just rotate out of the socket. That's just not supposed to happen, but mine just do. They go back in really easily. It's just the weirdest feeling. It feels like, I don't know if you guys can do this. I can, like, dislocate my thumb out of its joint. It feels like that. It feels like a joint rolling across itself. I don't know how to explain that. It's not pain, though. It's just weird. And you just kind of have to deal with it. The pain comes later. I've been researching YouTube, and there's a guy who specifically talked about the muscle spasms that happen in the back when ribs dislocate. Oh, they're the fucking worst. If they pop out, are the bones no longer wet? Oh. That depends on if you spit on it. Hawk Tua. Rolling joints has an entirely different meaning as you get older, is what you're trying to say. Yeah. Oh, no. Fuck. Yeah. I roll joints in the cool, not cool ways. Yep. So is a joint. Yeah. Fuck. I didn't even put that together. I love old school botany, art, and shit, and Beth got me books and a mortar and pestle. Oh, I'm so excited. I actually have a really cool herb book somewhere that you would love. I don't know where it is. It's a really cool herb book, though, that I got, like, at Barnes & Noble probably, like, 20 years ago. I don't even know. But it's visual, so every page is just, like, these beautiful pictures of the actual herbs and all the things you can break them down into. And all the medicinal, like, uses for them. It's really cool. I love that stuff. Because, I mean, like, at the end of the day, that's literally where we got everything we use today. Is herbs and stuff. You know, it's kind of fascinating to look back at the history of it. Good morning, raccoon. How are you, love? I don't roll my ankles. I'm scared about my ankle now since TwitchCon. That was the first time I really, really rolled it. And it's still got a weird, big old bump on it. I don't know. It's not the Stoner Gump one. It's a different one because it's about herb, like all plants. It does have marijuana in it, but it's about all plants. It's really interesting. That being said, Sec, if you're looking for good recipes to incorporate THC or CBD into anything you're trying to make, I would definitely check out Stoner Gump. Such a cool guy. You probably already know about him. He's really informative. He's super fucking smart. He started on TikTok. I think he does YouTube and stuff now. He's all over the place. But he's like educational marijuana, but also super funny. And I have his cookbook, and I've made the weed butter out of it. And it was phenomenal. I mean, that weed butter fucked Rod for days. Days. Yep, Stoner Gump. And he, like, because he's on TikTok and he has to be careful, he calls weed broccoli. And he talks about broccoli, like the broccoli calories, which is the THC, etc. So he's got kind of, but the way he speaks and everything is just fucking funny. But he's also super knowledgeable. Very responsible with weed. You know, he likes to do reactions to videos of people losing their mind on edibles. And he's like that caring grandmother that's like, oh, honey, that's far too many broccoli points for you today. He's really great. He's funny. And but he's smart. He's educational. I really like that. Also, Sec, I mean, not to like over inundate you, but you know, in our Discord, we have the Hypothetical Shenanigans Discord channel. That's the weed channel, if anybody's wondering why there's hypothetical shenanigans. It's so people that who live in non-recreationally legal states can talk about weed freely and not feel like they're in a channel called Marijuana, Weed, Cannabis, ha ha ha. But we have so many people in the industry in that channel, like growers, processors, people who make terpenes and stuff like that. So, like, that's an amazing resource. I'd hit up people like that. Tallulah is someone in the community who literally works in a grow house and is fucking smart with that stuff. He literally breaks down. He's no shit. He's married to a cosplayer on Twitch. If you know Disfusional, she does amazing cosplay. He's married to her. He works in a grow house. He's so fucking smart. He can break down all, like, the terpene profiles, what's painkiller CBD, THC versus not and stuff. He loves being a resource. He's super fucking helpful. I've never did the TikTok. I don't do did the TikTok either. I watch your guys' did. Thank you, Glut. That's Stoner Gump. The herbally infused and chronically bemused, the masterpiece. I wish I knew where mine was right now. I would show it to you. I know it's behind me. I just don't know where it is. But it's the coolest book. Like, the first half of the book is these really cool like charts where you can write in a strain and then color in like how did that strain make you feel? Did you like that strain? Basically recording strains. And then the second half is all recipes and stuff. How to make weed butter, how to make a tincture, how to get THC out of it, how to get et cetera, et cetera. It's really cool. And no shit, I used his recipe on the weed I grew in my yard and it fucked Rod up. That poor boy. I gave him like a teaspoon of butter and he still hasn't stopped talking about it. The marijuana cannabis THC. Ha 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 ha. Ooh, trouble. No. I'm so sorry. Shitty states. There's a lot of shitty states. There's a lot of shitty states out there. It sucks. I'm excited, Zach. Specifically because I'm trying to focus on topicals. Those won't harm people as much if they have reactions. 100%. And I mean, I think I've told you this before. Topicals have incredible properties. THC and CBD have this molecular size that is excessively happy to breach the blood-brain barrier. So, like, if you put a cucumber on your hand, that's not absorbing into your skin. You are not absorbing cucumber. Like, our skin is an incredible barrier to protect us from the world around us. If our skin literally absorbed like frogs or something, everything we touch, we would die. We would be dead. But there are certain molecules that mimic natural neurotransmitters so closely that they can breach the blood-brain barrier, and CBD and THC are two of those. It's incredible. So topicals are, I mean, can be phenomenal, especially, like, I'm a huge proponent of topicals when it comes to painkillers and shit like that, because you never know someone's digestive system. And when it comes to THC, CBD, etc., you have no idea how they're going to digest that, how it's going to affect them, if it's going to even make it to the blood-brain barrier after it's been exposed to stomach acid and bile and all that shit and gone through your intestines. Like, you just don't know. It depends on someone's metabolism, their diet, their normal everyday diet, as well as what have they eaten that day. There's just so many variables, whereas a topical, it's straight in. I'm very into it. Like, my one of my brothers lives off topical CBD for his knees. He has really fucked up knees and really bad arthritis in his hands, and he works construction, and it's the only thing that gets him by. And you can't generalize personal experience, but it's just amazing to see results like that. My mom had 2 knee replacements, and I got her off Percocet by getting her this like 2,000 milligram CBD lotion to put on her knees. I mean, it literally worked better than the Percocet. It's just incredible what it can do. And it's, you know, I think I speak for us all when I say, like, we want to get away from narcotics as much as possible. Like, there's a place and a time for them, and a lot of people absolutely need them. But for people that don't need them, that can find an alternative route, why not? Yeah, I was going to say, Glut, it must have a different cover, because that's not the one I have. Mine's yellow. No, I haven't. The Common Side Effects trailer. Common Side Effects is an upcoming American adult animated television series created by Joseph Bennett and Steve Healy from Adult Swim. That should be promising. Tennessee's trying to take away CBD again. Shocking. When Tennessee voted to eliminate the age of consent and like the legal age to get married, and this is no hate on Tennesseans. I know there are good people there. You're in my chat. I really lost hope. Like, the vast majority of your state is like, nah, we want to fuck kids. And everybody was like, okay. Okay, Tennessee. Okay. You're telling me I can't become part cucumber? I know. I'm sorry. Good trouble. Topicals usually don't interact with internal medications people are already on. 100%. The benefits can combine, but the worst a tincture can do is a rash. And I mean, in my experience, from what I've heard, the rash is never caused by the THC or the CBD. It's usually the carrier oil. So people that are allergic to a certain carrier oil will get like a heat rash or something from it. Topicals were great when I had some back problems. Same. Like, my shoulder, especially when my shoulder acts up, and I put that heavy duty, I don't think I have it on my desk, but the brand is called Escape Artist. I don't have it on my desk right now, but I get this brand called Escape Artist, and it's phenomenal. That's the one that got Zach high. That's how effective a topical can work. For those that weren't around for this story, this happened like a couple weeks before Burning Man. Katie made a mistake. So if you guys didn't know, Ezekiel underscore I doesn't do drugs. He doesn't like them. He doesn't barely drink, like not into it, which great. All the weeds for me, right? So I have this escape artist lotion. I have one that's THC and CBD. It's like 500 milligrams of THC or something like that. And I got out of a hot shower and I massaged it all over my shoulders because they were killing me, and then put a towel on and then hung that towel up. And Zach went in the bathroom immediately after me, took a hot shower, and took that THC towel and put it all over his body. And he got fucking high. Like, really fucking high. And it was weird and scary because there was a good 15 minutes where neither of us could figure out why he was high. And I was like, I would never drug anybody. You guys know that. Like, I would never put anything anywhere out where anyone could accidentally take something. Like, I was desperately trying to figure out what the fuck went down. And then the only reason I figured it out is, I've told you guys this before, but CBD can help neutralize a high that's out of control. It can really help calm you down. It's a good idea to keep a bottle of CBD around just in case, like CBD gummies or something. So I'm thinking, like, he's getting high and he's getting scared. I should find some CBD. I've got CBD in the house. Hold on. I'm going to get the CBD lotion out of the bathroom. Oh my God, that has 500 milligrams of THC. Oh my God, I dosed you. That was how it happened. My brain just immediately, I was like, I have CBD lotion. Oh, fuck. And that was a fucking topical. It's just lotion. But hot skin, open pores, steamy room, best case scenario, and the fucker got stoned, and I felt really bad. Don't drug people. Yeah, he used the same towel I did, but like immediately after me. Like, I got out of the shower, he went and showered, so it was fresh. I don't know. I don't think that would have happened in any other. It was just like the prime circumstances to accidentally get him really fucking high. Which, by the way, those lotions do nothing to me. Nothing. At all. I do not feel a THC effect whatsoever. That's my tolerance. Nothing. It was the perfect storm, exactly. Perfect fucking storm of just get fucked. I still feel bad about it. You shouldn't drug people. You should be careful if you have drugs around. Shit is scary. Motor oil gives me a rash. Don't put that on your skin. They blocked it and you had approved to pay for a huge chuck on the Titans Stadium. Big shock. I'm so sorry you live there. Ryan's the same. Is that it? Yeah. And so you guys, you just got to keep it safe. Well, Socrates, that's the thing. At this point, I think I'm an edible. I'm not 500 milligrams of an edible, but I'm definitely an edible. Especially with pain management, since treatments can stop working. Very, very much so, yes. And that's usually what leads to that pile on of narcotics and stuff. And like I said, I'm not shaming narcotics. A lot of people cannot live without painkillers. They are in existential pain. Please don't feel I'm shaming you. But I think you would agree with me when I say we've got an epidemic of people addicted to it who don't need it, and the more we can get it off the streets, the better. It was Towley from South Park. New tattoo, a warning label that says something like, you know what's glut? Every weed product, every legal THC product by law has to have this very specific little symbol on it. What about that? It's like the poison. It's like the THC symbol for like poison, toxic, whatever. You know, stickers you'd put on shit under the sink back in the day. But it's just a red triangle or a red diamond with an exclamation mark and it says THC. But everything has to have that on it. If it has THC in it, it's like by law. That'd be fucking funny. Get that real small right next to my pussy. Or like on my inner lip. That's a really good idea, honestly. Because it's real. One of my dogs just did something weird. What are you doing? What are you doing? Being a weirdo? Good morning, sales love. How are you? Thank you so much for subbing to the class, keeping the classy alive, and giving it any swings. Go forth and be consensual in all the ways, because nothing in this world is sexier than pure sober consent. And I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you, Drock. It's Mr. Biz. He's a drug dealing unicorn. It's very fitting. I went 3 months without caffeine just recently. I've done that before, Vile, and I never feel better. I don't feel like my life is altered without coffee, so I just go back. I love coffee. Inner lip, I know. Inner lip, foot, anywhere where it's going to be worn down would go away. Pussy would confuse people, so that's where it needs to go. 100%. I've told you guys my tattoo idea. I came up with this when I was like in high school, maybe middle school, which is really fucked up. I had a weird childhood. Don't worry about it. But I've always wanted to get the little gold box from Mario with the question mark on it that he has to bang his head into to get prizes. I wanted to get that on my inner thighs so that when I'm getting banged, I can go doo-doo-doo, 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 doo-doo-doo. Never forgot that idea. I might do it one day. Someday. It's a good one. I've had it in the back for many years. Right? It'd be fucking funny. It'd literally have to either go on the mound or like above my asshole or something. Like a tramp stamp or something, right? I know. That was my, but like, you know how you have ideas, like, no shit. You want to know my first tattoo idea I ever had as a child? I didn't get anything better, mind you. I'm covered in tattoos at this point. But the first tattoo idea I had when I was like in 8th grade, when me and all my girlfriends were sitting around and we're like, yeah, we're going to be so badass and we're going to get tattoos. I wanted to get a tie-dye weed leaf on my hip. And that's why you shouldn't get tattoos before the age of 18, because your ideas fucking suck. I still smoke a lot of weed and wear a lot of tie-dye, though, so it would have been fitting. I'll never watch Mario the same way again. You're welcome. The coin's spinning out the top! Exactly! You know exactly what I'm talking about. That's my idea. Had a buddy with a squiggly line like a mouse tail on the inside of his butt cheek. He called it his hidden Mickey. That's amazing. How's my hand taste? Good? Are you going to talk to them? You got something to say? No. Nothing to say, apparently. The comments on Owl Friends. Wait, Owl Friends? If you think about it, the shrooms in Mario have to be magic mushrooms. Oh, 100. I mean, I always assumed that, yeah. That it was either that or it was taken from Alice in Wonderland or something. Hi, Bill. You coming to say good morning, too? Thank you. Thank you. You're very sweet. We all love you very much. That's no different than a butterfly or a flower on the... Knives. That's why I said... My first tattoo is no better than this idea, because it's literally a rose on my hip bone. I don't think it's very often that our first tattoos are good, right? No shit, Knives. I couldn't write this if I wanted to. I got my first tattoo when I was 17. My mom paid for it because her theory was, if I let you get one tattoo, you'll never want another one. Ha ha ha. And I went with my best friend in high school, and I'm not kidding you. I got an orange and blue rose on my hip, and I'm not exaggerating, she literally got a butterfly sticker out of a quarter machine that was like a tribal butterfly, brought it into the tattoo artist, my friend, and asked to get that tattooed on her hip. We got a rose and a fucking tribal sticker tattoo of a butterfly on our hips right next to each other simultaneously. Could you pin a millennial any harder than those two? I don't even know. Yeah. I think that's like, if you got a tattoo when you were young, no, my last partner had a butterfly on her hip. It's like, my sister's generation, they get all these tiny little delicate tattoos that make them look like the margins of notebook paper. Or they get an infinity symbol on their rib cage or on their finger. It's the same shit. Or people like my brother, all my older brothers, people like 4 years older than me, tramp stamps. Which I think are hot. But that was that generation's like, oh my god, the tattoo is so... Eat a dick. We all have them, you assholes. It's a sign of like where you came from. Honestly, I love it. I'm like, no, you can tell I'm a millennial by this, this, and these. Oh, sec, 100%. Yep, I definitely wanted Cheshire Cat tattoos. Oh yeah. Uh-huh. There are no magic. They're not. They are not magic mushrooms because they're colored specifically as fly agaric, which are much more intense than magic mushrooms. Are those they're the red and white spotted ones? They're like deadly, right? No shit, sec. Oh man, my mom. I mean, and no judgment. I kudos to her for trying. Her theory was if she did it with me, then I wouldn't go do it on my own and fuck myself up. So she dyed my hair blue in our kitchen sink. I pierced my own nose. That was me being an asshole. But the rest of it, that was her theory. She was like, if I let her do it, she just won't. Like, no shit. In middle school, she put blue hair dye over my brown hair, and I went to school with like shit green hair for weeks. I loved it. I felt so cool. But her theory was like, if we do this while you're young, you won't go on to do it anymore. She won't realize it's fun. Exactly. $12,000 worth of tattoos and piercings later. Hey, mom. I know. It's funny because it's still to this day, you'll say, my sister and I love to make comments that are like, remember when it was a phase? Remember when that was the only way you could describe Sarah and I's obsession with getting piercings and tattoos was, oh, it's a phase. This craze of tattoos will die out. People aren't going to like tattoos in 10 years. What are you going to do when you get married? Blah, 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 blah. It's interesting. It's interesting, the psychology of it. It didn't work. Those are the ones that kill you. Yeah, that's what I thought. I have a double infinity symbol on my hip, but it's not a little tiny dainty one. It's big and colorful. See, that's cool. I think that's fun. I'm talking, you know the ones I'm talking about. It literally looks like notebook paper, or like what I noticed with a lot of the younger generations is their hands are just covered in, please excuse me, shit. It looks like someone signed their hand here and they tattooed a few rings on and something else. And I'm just like, what? Like everyone looks like Rihanna and Ariana Grande's hands now. Like that's the new thing, I guess. I don't know. But it's always a thing. Like that's just going to identify that generation. They're going to have hands covered in tattoos. Whereas my generation, we've got hip tattoos. My other best friend got a big old Celtic cross on her hip bone. Like that was the spot when I was in high school, your hip bone. I don't know why. Yeah, it's just like weird symbols. Wait, could tats be considered a business expense because of OF? Yes. Yes. I say that with full confidence. I have talked to my accountant about yes. Anything that decorates the product to better sell it is part of the business. That is fucked up to say out loud. But, you know what I'm saying? What up, Kozu? How are you? 100%. If I can get a tax break on that shit, you bet your ass I will. Being at your own business, like I build up a savings account all year, and every year taxes goes, thank you. And it's just gone. And then I start from zero, and then a year goes by, and I'm like, look at my savings account. I still can't figure out where those taxes are going or what they're doing. Cheers. Knives. I've seen people do that. The sad part is it's kind of similar to like getting a tattoo on your foot or your inner mouth. Is your fingertips peel so much, like your hands shed more skin than almost the rest of your body. So their fingertips wear off really fast. The black ink just kind of like goes away. Oh, tired, cold, sick of people, but profoundly lonely. In short, it's complicated. How are you? Hard, same. I want to say cheers to that, but can we just cheers? Texas has no income tax. Only good thing. I know. I feel for you guys all the fucking time. I gotta grind up weed because Tammy got me again. My brother's first idea of a tattoo and implementation was decent. He put love hate on his upper arm. One side says love, one side says, oh, is it like Knives has one like that on his arm. What is that called? What is it called when it reads backwards and something different? There's a name for that. An ambigram, yeah. Where it reads one way and then you turn it upside down. Is it a palindrome, an ambigram? I don't know. There's a word for it. Where it reads something different either way. It's cool. I like those. Tanks. We manufacture an obscene amount of tanks. Yeah, I would believe that. I would believe that. Pre-tax retirement. I have a 401k. I've had a 401k since I was 18. Because I planned ahead. I don't know. No shit. I had, when I was in, I want to say middle school, the local, does Les Schwab still exist? The local owners of the local Les Schwab came to talk to my class just about, like, your future. It was really interesting. Like, they just came and they were like, let's talk about what it's like to own a business or whatever. But the lady that owned it, the wife, talked a lot about starting a retirement account. And she was like, if I had started a retirement fund or a 401k or something when I was 18, I could have retired by the time I was 40 years old. And I don't want to retire by the time I'm 40 years old. I genuinely enjoy doing and working and being, and I don't think I'll ever not work. But the financial security of having that really struck me. Because, like, my parents, for instance, put nothing into retirement until they were in their 40s, and then they basically had to start dumping half of their paycheck into their retirement every single time they got paid, which led to us being very poor when we were kids, because they have to look forward to their future as well. Like, I understand that, but what a fucking mess. So watching that was a lesson. So I started that shit when I was really young. Yeah, I got one through my work, and I've just maintained it, but I've had it for years and years and years. It's crazy. Exactly. I have no hope for retirement either. I'm not disillusioned. It'll be a treat if that's a realistic thing for me when I'm 80 and my body's broken. Can I just sleep in? Cute. But I have no disillusions. I see it as like a savings account, a nest egg, something for the future just in case. It's good to have. It gives me some semblance of something. I don't know. Oh my God, Mish, did I ever tell you how Hopkins did that? It was so evil. The first year I worked at Hopkins, they deleted pensions. I don't even know how to describe that. Essentially, if you weren't within 6 months of retiring, they deleted your pension. Like, you could have worked at Hopkins for the next 40 years, or for the last 40 years, and they deleted your pension. And so what happened was it force retired a shit ton of medical workers. So many people that had literally dedicated their lives to Hopkins because of that goddamn pension almost exclusively. They were like, well, fuck, I have to retire if I want to keep my pension or I lose it. Like, insane that that's not illegal. But this was like 10 years ago. It was disgusting watching all of these women my mother's age crying because they didn't want to retire. They were only they were like early 60s and still totally fine. Like, they wanted to work. But they couldn't even go PRN. Like, they had to full on retire if they wanted any of their pension whatsoever. It was so fucked up. I mean, it's wild that Hopkins still had a pension, but they definitely got rid of it in a very dark way. And this is why unions are important. And I've told you guys, I went to so many anti-union shits when I was at Hopkins. Like, Hopkins actually invests in teaching you how to hate a union. That's how hard they don't want unions on the East Coast. It's fucking wild. They'll fire you if they know you're out. If you like unions or if you're working with a union, they'll fucking fire you. It is wild. And like unions here, they do different things across the board. But one thing they do for medicine is they make sure we're getting paid, right? You guys know what I did for a living. I don't know how to gauge what someone should be paid. But on the West Coast, I got paid around $40 an hour. On the East Coast, $20. That's what unions did for us. And on the East Coast, Hopkins goes, we put our name on your resume. Cheers. All companies try that, really. Everyone does. It's so weird. I hadn't worked somewhere that was non-union before. We pay you in exposure. That's exactly it. Yeah, that's exactly it. You can work anywhere if you've worked at Hopkins. We don't need to do anything else for you. Okay. Thanks. My dad took the option to cash out his pension from one employer and rolled it into his 401k. That's smart. Unions are making a comeback, and I'm happy for me, too. Have you seen that shit show the post office union is in that they have people living out of cars? The Canadian wasn't that just like, oh man, yes. Didn't the government just order them to stop or something like that? Like something went down where the government was like, you have to stop because no one's getting their fuck. It was in the US, seriously. No, I did not. That is fucking sad. I know, right before bed. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to do that. I'm very anti-capitalism too, though. It's so gross. Well, and I understand, like, unions are such a, they're not perfect. Nothing's perfect. Like, I've worked under unions and I've worked not under unions. Working under a union is great because you get paid what you're worth. You are guaranteed getting time off. Your bosses can't refuse time off for no fucking reason. Like, they protect your job. Like, your bosses can't just fire you because you mentioned unions. Like, they genuinely protect you in that way, but they also, as much as they protect the best worker on your team, they protect the worst person on your team. So they're going to protect the job of that person who twisted their ankle 7 years ago and still takes 8 months of FMLA every fucking year. And FMLA means you can't hire anyone while they're gone. You just get to make up the difference. Which means every other RT gets to work twice as hard. And unions will protect that person. So they're awesome and they suck. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. Same. I'm all for unions. Unions are better than no unions, but they're not perfect. I mean, I've seen it before. It's crazy. Unions can override management. Like, I've genuinely seen management step in and be like, hey, you're not really working out as an employee, but they didn't do anything wrong or, like, against the law. So they go to their union rep, and their union rep comes to the bosses and goes, you can't fire this person. They did nothing wrong. You literally can't deprive this person of a living just because they annoy you. It's so gross. It's just an abuse of the system over and over and over again. People learn how to work a system regardless of a union or not, but I'm still all for unions. Please don't get me wrong. I've just seen it protect it as much as it protects the best person on your team. They're going to do the same amount of protection for the worst person on your team. And sometimes you have to work with that person. And that sucks. I agree. I just don't know how. I'm not management. I don't know how they would go about that. Because unions seem to be able to strong arm any situation. That's what FMLA prevents. FMLA, you might know more about it than I do, Glut. I've never used it, but it's family medical leave. And essentially the definition of it is, for the extent that you're gone, your job is protected. So as long as you have federally approved FMLA papers, your job is protected, which means we can't hire a person to take that spot because that means we're taking your spot. And when you come back from FMLA, we have to fire that person who just took your spot. This is just what I've been explained. Like, that's how it works. So they can't. So instead, every single time someone takes FMLA, we just have to spread ourselves really thin. You can't hire a person. So you end up using, what is it called? Agency respiratory therapists, which, I mean, they're okay. I wouldn't want them as my RT, but they're okay. But that's your, like, only option while they're gone. And it sucks. I have FMLA for my asthma, and my job keeps it quiet because people be mad. Why would people be mad? You're ill. You're actually ill, though. So that's why I brought up the example. This is a real person that I worked with. They twisted their ankle, literally like rolled their ankle 7 years ago. But because it's a twisted ankle, there's no broken bones or anything. The only evidence that this is debilitating is them saying, ow. So every 6 months, they re-up their FMLA and go, my ankle hurts, and they can just keep this forever. But I'm not kidding you. They've straight up sat with me in my office and said, I use FMLA to take vacation. Every time I want to go somewhere, I just say my ankle hurts and I get to go. They know how to work this system. They aren't you. You are different, let me tell you. FMLA has a place. There's nothing wrong with FMLA. People need to be able to have their job protected when they get in an accident, when you have surgery, having a baby, etc. That needs to exist. It just ends up abused, is all I'm saying. People work the system. Because it's, wait, hold on. If one person leaving is fucking your entire staff, you're understaffed 100%. Oh, 100%. That's hospitals. Hospitals run the shortest, I mean, literally the reason we have like it's called the DMV, but it's not the DMV for driving. It's like medical DMV. It's essentially like the overarching laws. Like I've talked about how, for instance, I can only speak to respiratory therapists, but for instance, in most hospitals in the United States of America, you can only have 11 to 12 ventilators per one respiratory therapist. That group decides those numbers, because if it was up to the hospital, they'd give me 30 vents. They don't give a fuck. If I can run 30 vents, that is cheap labor and they will let me do it. But it's not safe. It's not ethical. Like you guys know, I've talked about that. A good vent check, a ventilator check, coming and checking a patient on a ventilator takes upwards of 45 minutes. I don't have 30, 45-minute chunks in a day in one shift. That's not possible. But if I could, they'd let me. So those big overarching people step in and go, abso-fucking-lutely not. But because of that, they run us, I mean, literally. It's really interesting, actually, as a numbers person, you'd probably find it fascinating. But each hospital has like this secret calculation as to how they determine what their staff is going to be for the night. So every night we would show up to like the main room and there would be this big whiteboard and it would have every unit, every building, basically tower, whatever, how many patients, how many vents, and then this weird math calculation that would say like what the labor load is technically on that floor. And we'd all stand around with our little backpacks on and they'd calculate this, my bosses, and then they'd send people home depending on those numbers. They'd be like, we don't need 16 therapists, we only need 13. So for the next 12 hours, if anything happens where suddenly you need 16 therapists, you're just fucked. But they're saving a good dollar and that's all they give a fuck about. It's constant. It's always whittling. Like literally middle of the night, 2 a.m. You'll get a call from your boss. Hey, how busy is it up there? You think you could take off early? Like just abandon a unit of humans because they're just trying to cut bottom lines. It's pretty gnarly. No shit. Is that real? The only reason we have weekends is because of unions? I believe that. I'm not doubting you. I just didn't know. That's kind of fascinating. Mid-February, if my insurance doesn't fuck me over, good luck. We have people who use 12 weeks a year, and yeah, one was an ankle thing, so they all have a bad rap here. And that's the thing. There are people who genuinely need FMLA. I mean, everybody needs access to FMLA. Period. That protects your job when something is out of your control, like getting hurt or something. It's people who abuse it that really make it so we get mad about it. Not mad, but like I'll admit it, if I hear someone's getting FMLA, my hackles raise immediately because I don't know you. Are you going to abuse it and make my life really difficult? Because it's just, that's the vast majority of FMLA is just, I've genuinely. So the way that hospital shifts work, we work 12-hour shifts. I come in at 7, from 7 to 7:30, I get report. So the person that worked that day shift would tell me about all the patients on the floor. I write down all the details and then they take off. Literally, she would sit in front of me and be like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. FMLA Mexico. And then you just see her Instagram and it was just Mexico. And it was just, you can see how that's fucking infuriating. Because she was going to call in the next day, but like she didn't call in until the next day. So then I had to work a 16-hour shift. And then we had to panic to get someone else in. And then I have to come in literally in 8 hours after that 16-hour shift to work another 12-hour shift. You see how that can compound into just a what the fuck? And they don't give a fuck. I just don't understand where that mentality comes from of not caring. You guys are definitely different in that you give a fuck. I give a fuck. I don't know how else to say that. I think there are just some people who give a fuck and some people who don't. No shit. So Viata said, I was a recruiter for the UAW when I worked in the shop. Because of the unions, we had a 40-hour week instead of a 60-hour work week, overtime pay, and vacation time. Just because one person may be gaming the system is not a reason to disparage unions. Exactly. You said it so much more eloquently than I did. Unions are still the best option. Like 100%. 100%. Because like on the flip side of a union protecting maybe a coworker you don't like to work with, without a union, your bosses can fire someone because they just don't like them. Like on a personal level, like I just don't like them. And that could be the best person you work with. It's abusive. It's scary. You're like constantly in a state of fight or flight because you don't have to do anything wrong to be let go. No one's protecting you. And like there's nothing, like there's no raises. There's nothing. You're not making any money. Like it's really scary without a union. It's kind of like flying by the seat of your pants. Like a union is absolutely best case scenario always. It's just not perfect and nothing will ever be perfect. That's okay. Like it's a work in progress, right? My mom works at the county and they had someone abuse it to the point of fire, but it took 2 years. Yeah. And that's abusing it though. And that's a shitty person. I'm sure there's a shitty person elsewhere in their life too, sadly. For us to start our enhanced care unit, unless it's filled with 8 people, we're only allowed 1 staff. Enhanced care is people that need extra care a la 2-person transfers. Exactly. Many more meds, toileting, multiple cares that aren't in general AL. It used to be 2 people when we were over half capacity. When asked why we can't have that anymore, budget. That's what happened in all of my ICUs and Hopkins in terms of like CNAs. We had a 30-bed unit and we got 2 CNAs. And then I think I don't know the exact job title, but we have people who are called sitters. And essentially, if you have a patient who is just fidgety, they might be a little out of their mind, they're coming off drugs or something, and they're pulling at stuff and they keep trying to crawl out of bed, you have someone come and literally sit with them. That is what they are paid to do. They sit and stare and they can't go to sleep. They can't do anything. They can like read a book or something, but they sit with them and just make sure that patient is safe and they're not crawling out of bed. They're not pulling anything out. Like we got 1 for 30 beds for a 12-hour shift. Budget. And it's constant. And that's what happens without a union because no one's being protected. No job is being protected. No one's standing up and going, no, that job is valid. How the fuck do we do our job without CNAs? I can't roll a 250-pound man by myself. I'm going to hurt myself or I'm going to hurt the patient. That's impossible. And so then you end up in this huge lag in patient care because you're waiting for the 2 CNAs to be done helping someone else to come help you. It's literally breaking our bodies. And I'm sure you've heard this. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this. But what do you call a nurse with a back problem? Unemployed. So you just don't speak up. Your back never hurts and you're fine. Because you don't have another option because they find out you have a back problem and they're going to find a reason to fire you because you're going to be a liability, you're going to be insurance, you might take FMLA, God forbid, because someone at work low staffed you and you had to do something alone and you hurt yourself. Like it's just this horrible negative feedback loop. And I know this is like out of nowhere, but thank you so much for supporting my channel so I don't have to do any of this anymore because holy shit. Holy shit. Machine transfers are absolutely legally 2 people. It's a fucking crane. Yeah. What up, Hitsy? How are you, love? Companions. Yeah. When union reps sell their own people out for corporations, it's sad. Yes. It's disgusting. Working in the transportation business, Katie, NEMT, has given me a fucking phenomenal respect for nurse CNAs. It's amazing. They work so goddamn hard. We have one lady that wears a back brace under her uniform, 100%. There's so many nurses and shit out there who are going to chiropractors almost daily. I mean, I've told you guys about one of my aunts was a nurse for years and years and years at a hospital in Washington. And one of the emergency room doors, you know, those like super fucking heavy steel doors that have the big bar across that you have to thunk into. They're basically fireproof doors. They are all automatic. One of them broke in the 90s and was no longer automatic, like no longer would open when you hit a button. So from the 90s until about the 2016, my aunt, who's like 5'2" and a buck 10 maybe, slammed her shoulder into that door to open it while shoving gurneys through that door for 12 hours a day, every day, constantly. And now she just has this horrific, I don't even know if it has a name, but basically her shoulder never stops producing scar tissue on the inside. And she has to have a nerve implant to deal with the pain of this that is 24/7. But she just literally couldn't do anything about it until she retired because her hospital might have fired her. It's fucking, and that's why FMLA is important. It protects you. Unions protect us from our job being like, you're an inconvenience, therefore I don't want to pay for you anymore. Or, like, God forbid you have a back problem and it's considered a pre-existing condition and you get no insurance. It's crazy. I'm not a nurse, just a resident assistant. You're not just anything. Don't put yourself down like that. But we still pass meds, clean up shit, transfer residents, so basic stuff. Can't create care plans or know all the different meds by heart, but we still do a lot. I would put money down you know more than me. The world of pharmacology and pharmaceuticals and just medical, that world is a nurse's game. Holy shit. I can't. Yeah, pharmacology, bath. I have no idea how. Like, but again, I mean, that's how nurses feel about ventilators. So I guess I kind of get it. We all go to school for a really, really long period of time to crash course learn as much as fucking possible. And for me, it was respiratory therapy. But for them, drugs. Like all the fucking the like inner dictionary lexicon, whatever is phenomenal on a nurse. It always blows my mind. There's some of the most interesting people you can ever talk to because they just start spitting some of the smartest words I've ever heard and med names. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? How do you just retain all of that? All these like phloxanonone grams. I don't even know. It's weird. I'm a surgical tech. Preach, girl. Bitch. I'm not kidding you. I applied to get, after I did like my prereqs and everything, I applied into a surge tech program, a respiratory program, and a dental hygienist program. Because I didn't care. I just wanted to make a decent wage. And I had a chemistry degree. So I was like, I'm going to do these. And respiratory I got into first, and that's where I went. But I could have been right there fucking with you. I ended up in surgery anyways. I ended up a surgical respiratory therapist, so I ended up there anyways. What up, Berserker? How are you, love? Reasons why I can't have a normal job. What's normal? I see what's on our phone and just know what some pills look like. Like, I've learned some of the common terms for branded stuff like acetaminophen. I've learned that too by listening to nurses, genuinely. Working in pharmacy is wild. It's genuinely fucking phenomenally crazy. It's so interesting, though. How are you, GH? I'm doing good. I hope you're doing well. Diflucan is for yeast infections? Well, and we don't even have to talk. I mean, not to mention in the US, the amount of names for the same goddamn drug is crazy. I don't know. Do we have any international nurses here? Do you have to learn all of the brand names in the US as well as like the actual drug name? Because it's crazy. It's there's generics and then there's just like every brand of the same. You have to say like, I'm on an SSRI. Because there are 500 SSRIs. There's so many. They all do the same thing, but it's brand names of them. My bestie was a dental hygienist. Now, 20 years later, she's an orthodontist. Fuck yeah. I mean, dental hygienists start out $50 an hour. I'm genuinely glad I didn't go into it. I think I would have gotten really bored cleaning teeth for a living. And again, I ended up balls deep in people's mouths anyways. I'm just not fixing their mouths. You know what I'm saying? This channel's continuing my education. I wonder if should I be able to give out continuing education credits for this? Don't forget the batshit crazy family members that have never done this work but insist we're doing it wrong. I could go on for 12 hours straight telling you stories about family members that almost killed a patient because they thought they knew better than me, i.e. disconnecting a ventilator tube to shove food down it, massaging red food oil on an IV and killing someone's hands. If you know better, please don't come to the hospital. I can't stand to watch what you're doing. It's fucking weird. So, Katie, if someone gives the chemical name of a drug they're on, is it a breath of fresh air? Yes. No shit. So when we're like at the computer and we're charting, the vast majority of what we're charting has a drop-down menu, and it'll be the actual drug names. And so when someone comes in and says, I'm on brand name, We do that. Oh, okay, yeah. I wonder, do you know what that drug is called? Because we're scanning through just drug names. There's no fucking brand names in there, like Aleve or Tylenol. It's gonna say acetaminophen. It's gonna say NSAIDs. It's gonna say, it's gonna say the actual drug that's in there constantly. But it's not that person's fault. That's not the fault of America and privatized medicine. That's just privatized pharmaceuticals and shit. That's not the fault of the person at all. The name brands have X amount of years to make their money back. The generics come in and sell their own. Damn. Also, pro tip for anyone looking into healthcare, never give medicine a la creams for privates. Creams? Of the other sex without a witness. I just asked one of the ladies to handle my vaginal creams, and I just stand back as I witness. Wait. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I was literally like, are you putting cream on your vagina? What's happening? During my dentist journey over the last couple years, I learned so much from them. They actually tried to offer me a job. Isn't that crazy? I could never work in a dentist. Oh my God. So many mouths. My friend was a hygienist. She meant for it, then injured her wrist. Oh, that sucks. Dude, if I could use a stream for my CEUs, I'd be so happy. I've done my CEUs on stream with you guys before. I actually have to do some soon. My license lapses in February. Which, yeah, I still keep that shit. I worked really hard for it. I know there are chemical names for all my meds, makes things so much easier, 100%, and the communication with your medical professionals is just going to be so much more accurate. I said no because it was too impersonal, and I would have gotten annoyed. So well done for you not doing that. I couldn't. It's that, and like, nobody wants to go to the dentist. It's the saddest place. Like, people are shelling out tons of money to keep the bones in their mouth. At least in the hospital, I was saving people and, got to help people in a way. Not that they wanted to be there either. Knowing better, it's in its own Darwin category. Nurses too? What is that? Anybody that does know better will give you the info you need straight up and let you go on with it because they know it's more than a one-person job, very much so. I always say the drug name, but being in healthcare, yep. You just know, it's like working in retail. Dude, might tell me this isn't the same thing because I know you've probably worked retail. Working in retail teaches you that when you're in a store, get the thing off the shelf with a fucking barcode. Like, once a year, I'll make the idiot mistake of just grabbing something off the shelf real quick and not realizing that the barcode's missing. And when I make it to the register, it's like a tick. I have to be like, I worked retail for 7 years. I'm so sorry. I know better than this. Please shame me. Shame me. It's that. It's just like, I know better now because of the years of, I need a barcode in aisle 2 in hardware. Barcode aisle 2 hard. You just learn. You live and you learn. For years, a nurse's too has helped me too many goddamn times. What is that? Keeping that current is just smart. 100%. I mean, it's, in my opinion, very smart. The thing with a lot of like board certified licenses is it doesn't take my education away, but if I was to let my license lapse, I have to go take all those tests again. Like the $300 state tests you have to go take at an H&R Block that you have to study really, really hard for. I would have to take those again. And those were nightmare. Those were hellish. I've talked about those far too many times. They're literal nightmares. I'd rather die. I'd rather die than ever take those again. Those were horrible. Do you, Bezbilly? I hate it. I always get a cramp in my jaw. I'm surprised there aren't more RT jobs outside a hospital with normal hours. There are. It's just because they're normal hour RT jobs, they don't need the staff. So I've worked those jobs. Like I worked at a PFT clinic, for instance. If you're an RT and you want outside work, PFT clinics, sleep clinics, exercise clinics, weight loss clinics, etc. Those are all places we can work. But normally those places are just an 8-hour business office. So they only need one RT a day. They just don't need the staff. And that RT will probably die there. I worked at a sleep clinic for a little bit. It was the most boring thing I've fucking ever experienced. Normal, like a 9 to 5. I worked 8 to 5 in a PFT clinic for a while, and it was lovely, but you only need one RT a day versus a hospital needs 16 RTs per 12-hour rotation. So you're just way more likely to get a job in a hospital than you are out. Also, and I feel like I'm talking about this way too much. Please tell me to shut the fuck up. What up, BDO? In my personal opinion, if you're going into medicine or if you want to be an RT or a nurse, etc., I strongly encourage your first job to be in the ICU or the emergency room simply because I worry that if you didn't do those things right away out of school, you would lose that level of knowledge, intelligence, and skills you've got. Because a PFT lab, everybody's healthy, everybody's fine, everybody's fully dressed with a purse and jewelry, and they just breathe a little heavy into a machine, and they go talk to a doctor, and it's just peaches and cream. Versus, like, everything I went to school for was how to run a ventilator, how to code patients, how to do ABGs, etc. And if you just straight went into one of those 9 to 5 clinics, I feel you would lose all those skills. And as an employer, I know for a fact my mom was a boss for many years of a respiratory therapy department in a hospital. She'll look at someone who's worked 20 years in a nice 9 to 5 office and think you're not cut out for 12-hour night shifts in an ICU. They're not the same. You kind of set your skill set where you go first, if that makes sense. So, like, if you immediately go to the floors, you kind of get your skill set is now you're a floor nurse or a floor therapist. If you immediately go to the ICU, your skill set gets set into kind of a mold of, I'm an ICU therapist. I don't know how to work outside of chaos. That's me. ER is the same, but that's like the highest level of skills you're ever going to have to utilize. And I feel like if you get that and can do that, you can do anything. But do that. So then if you want to do anything, you can prove, like, I did it. I can work in ICUs. If you can work in an ICU, no one will question whether or not you can work in a 9 to 5 office doing PF fucking Ts. Ever. But if all you've done is work 9 to 5 PFTs and suddenly you have to go on night shift or even day shift in an ICU, people are going to be a little leery and you're going to take a lot more training. So I would anybody going into medicine, I would say, like, just try to get into somewhere like that. First, like an ICU or something, at least for a few years, solidify your skill set, solidify what you've got going for you, and then branch out and do what you want to do. But at least you've got it. You've got it in your back pocket. Like, I did that, and it's like riding a bike. It never goes away. Listen to me. I've been out of the game for 6 years, and it's just, it just becomes hardwired in your head, and you can never get rid of it, ever. So, nurses would do a nurse 2, where when giving actual pain meds, they would actually not dump the dump part and give more to people than deserved it. Like, the nurses did know better than the doctors because they actually know I'm not giving it. No, I understand exactly what you're saying. We've had to do that shit in respiratory where, and I'm sure you've dealt with shit that's very similar, Fatty, but like, just a very simple example. If you have asthma, which I know some of you do, I'm sure you take albuterol or Combivent or something like that, some sort of inhaler that is meant to dilate the bronchioles of your lungs, open them up, and help you get some more oxygen into your alveoli, get oxygen transfer, etc., etc. Lots of inhalers going on. So we've got albuterol. It's probably the number one most common inhaler you're ever going to give somebody. Unfortunately, it has one side effect, which is it gives you the shakes. It dilates everything. So dilate meaning going from really narrow to really wide. It dilates the bronchioles of your lungs, but it also dilates all of your blood vessels, which gives you a big old rush of blood and oxygen everywhere and kind of makes you feel like you've had too much coffee for a few minutes. It can give you that. If you have a predisposed heart condition, I don't want to do this to you, right? Like, if you have a predisposed anything, if you have a history of heart attack, history of heart disease of any kind, I don't want to fuck with your blood pressure. That's bad. So, I don't want to give you albuterol. We have a lovely alternative called Leva albuterol, which is albuterol minus the shit. Amazing. Insurance companies refuse to cover it. They don't care if you die. You are more money to them sick. They don't care. The fucking amount of times I've been on the phone with an insurance company saying, if I give them albuterol, they might die. You can't give them Leva albuterol. It's too expensive. If I give them albuterol, they might die. Leva albuterol is too expensive. That's because you're not talking to a medical professional. You're just talking to some fucking insurance cunt who doesn't give a fuck. And the sheer amount of times that doctors have been like, give them the Leva albuterol. And we just shell the cost. Because I'm not going to kill you. That's crazy. Are you fucking with me? There was a horrible interview done, like a street interview, basically, like someone with a hidden camera following a doctor on the street years ago. And the doctor slips up and says, heart surgeries make more money than heart attack prevention. And that's how insurance companies see it. It's fucking gross. They are. Insurance companies are absolutely evil. Yes, 100%. Good morning, David. How are you, love? They're the source of all of our issues in a hospital. Like, medicine would not be near as expensive if it wasn't for insurance companies. And I've talked about this before. Again, it's weird math. But there's like this calculation where insurance companies decide what they'll cover. And then hospitals have to make up the difference by making other things more expensive. So, like a nasal cannula, which is a piece of plastic tubing, might cost $60, but it's because they refuse to like insurance will not cover oxygen, air, heliox, levoalbuterol, etc., etc., etc. They won't cover any of that, so we're making up the difference on all these different items that are crazy. So, like, itemized medical lists look fucking insane because insurance companies straight up are like, that's not necessary. And therefore, we can't bill for it, even though it's absolutely necessary to keeping you the fuck alive. It's wild. Or, like, for instance, an ABG. This is weird shit that goes on in hospitals. An ABG, an arterial blood gas. If I draw it, I can bill insurance. If a nurse draws it, not off of a vamp, if they draw it out of your wrist, they can't bill insurance for it. Because it's not in their scope of practice unless it's off of a vamp, which is like a straight tap to your artery that we just have a literal spigot and we spigot it out. It's crazy. Just this, because they'll be like, an RT should have done it. Nurses are better than me. I'm here to say that very confidently. You go fuck yourself, insurance company. What? It's crazy. It's just running in circles like that constantly, just trying to keep someone alive, but also not send them home with a $300,000 bill. No, fuck America. You don't have to apologize. We say it all the time. The vast majority of Americans feel that way, David. It's okay. I mean, healthcare, nowhere is it perfect. Like, I hear about my friends in the UK struggling to get a diagnosis of ADD. Like, my friend Lizzie, it took upwards of 5 years, 2 years just to see somebody for ADHD therapy, and then another 3 just to get the test done to, like, get a diagnosis like that. Like, it's nowhere is it perfect. They're reinvesting in AI to review claims. Shut up. Which is much better. That's...
Help! Help! Help!
Help! America was fine before white people. It's facts. Oh, God. I mean, isn't that already a thing, Glut? I feel like I watched, like, was it, like, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver or something, where he went over insurance companies, and there was something about how, like, when insurance companies submit... Or, no. When we submit claims to insurance companies, it's like they're automatically denied. Like, there's a computer that denies chunks of insurance claims at 500 at a time. And they're just betting on you never calling and contesting the denial. And that's how they rake all that fucking money in, is most people will go, oh, I guess I just have to pay it. And they never call. But it's literally a computer just auto-denying chunks of insurance claims at a time. Like, chunks of 500 at a time. It's pretty wild. Have a good walk, gamer. Took me 7 years, shut up, 7 years to get diagnosed with Crohn's. They only found it 3 months before I had major complications. That's so scary. I'm so glad they found it, though, my God. What makes me laugh in the Pledge of Allegiance state equality for all except there has never been equality. It's, well, David, I'm sure you've seen this before in your country. There's a population of human beings all over the world that have a psychosis that's like, if I say it enough, it makes it real, right? I'll just repeat myself until people are tired of denying it. It happens everywhere with shit all the time. Anti-vaxxers. Fuck. It doesn't matter how many times you claim ivermectin helped you. It didn't. But it's like the more they say it, they think it's effective for some reason. 2 surgeries. More the reason you deserve that FMLA, I'm just saying. That's fucked. That's crazy. If I say it enough loudly enough and avoid questioning it, then it's true. Exactly. Literally. I mean, it's gotta be. A computer can never be held accountable. Therefore, a computer must never make a management decision. That's from 1979. And yet, Fun fact, there's a pipeline for apothecaries to right wing. So if I start saying wild shit, please tell me to fuck off. Oh, 100%. I got you. Sec, I mean, you're a little highly educated. I don't think you're susceptible to that yet. You know, it's like the more you read. No, what? What? Herbal remedies, anti-pharmaceuticals, oh, is that the pipeline? Any and every, no, you're not, you're right. You're right, Glut. No, we say that all the time. I shouldn't, you're right. You're absolutely right. I listen to too many podcasts about cults for me to be this stupid. Anybody is susceptible to that bullshit. Literally the smartest people in the world, the most successful people have been sucked into cults. No, you're right. Yeah. No, you're right. But I will. As a friend, I would 100% call you out on that shit. No, you're right. Everybody, you're right. I've listened to way too many podcasts and watched way too many true crimes on cults to be this ignorant of that shit. No one's immune to that. No one. Yeah, the fucking Scientology is a big case in point of that. I don't know how many. Yeah, no, it is. It's all of them, though. There's a lot of cults or cult like that, for some reason, because they're big and famous, like Scientology. I hear people call that a religion, which is a cult at the end of the day. I don't know. We could go on. I have to pee really bad. No, and that's how I am too. Sec, I think medicine should be a mix of Eastern and Western, like classic medicine. I think it should be together. Same with fishing, anybody can be scammed. It's like Glut said, like I was going to say the opposite end of it, but Glut said it better. The moment you think you're not susceptible to it, that's when you are fucking susceptible to it. You must always question everything. Always be a little cynical about it, because you just never know. That's smart. Really? Your wife grew up in Scientology? Oh my god, really? Like as a kid? Okay. I would love to know what that was like, kind of. Because wow. They see Scientology as a religion. I mean, this is me very, very personally, cannot generalize personal experience. I can't figure out the difference between religions and cults. Other than, for some reason, like, once it gets called a religion, it's tax exempt. But, like, organized religion and cults, I can't figure it out. They're so... There is none, okay? Okay, yeah, I'm not off base on that. All right. Yeah, it's like social acceptance is the only difference, but, like, fundamentally, it's the same shit. Yeah, okay. So I'm not off base on that. It feels weird to say, and I don't want to offend anyone, because I know there's a lot of people who are spiritual or find faith in God, a classic God, a Christian God, whatever. I think spirituality is beautiful. It's organized religion I've just never seen a positive outcome from. It seems very scary and manipulative and weird. It's just the level of buy-in. So, like, in church, they tithe. And in cults, what do they... I don't want to... I think spirituality and religion is... It's more real the more personal experience it is, but that's just me. They're the same. How many people the Christians can convince is what makes a religion? You are not incorrect. The question isn't if you're paranoid. The question is if you're paranoid enough. Yeah, okay, yeah, I have to pee. Quick break, stretch your legs, pack a bowl, do what you need to do. I'll be right back. Maybe we'll play some PoE. You guys want to play some PoE? Side note. I had to fight that wolf last night. Melted it. My witch is a god. I'll be right back. Until I get... Could be me. It's only 40. It's not that cold. Hi, how are you, VR? Good morning. Yeah, I, last night while we were in movie night... Normally, and during movie night, because I'm, like, chatting and paying attention to the movie, I don't go into boss fights or anything, like, on purpose. I'm just fucking around, like leveling my character, running around, killing mobs and shit. And last night, just like absentmindedly during the second movie, I wander into I literally, it's the wolf fight. If you're unfamiliar with PoE, is the one where you have to go down a little elevator. And Glut and I did it so many times, and it has those one-shot lightning bolts. And without thinking, because I was just moving around, I clicked on the fucking elevator and went down and was like, oh fuck. Paused the game, took a really big hit, and was like, okay, I'm just gonna do it. And I fucking melted him first try. It was silly. And I got a new scepter that I'm like experimenting with, and I was really scared because it's trading out armor is so scary, but my scepter was so old and so low level, I had to do something. And so like I lost 3 levels of my skelly people, but I got 2 skeleton warriors on it, and I lost some spirit, but I still melted it. Oh, Zbot, that was actually from Faded Friday last. There's one here that keeps floating around. I can feel it. Traitor to the crown. You have to go. You have to go. I can feel you floating. Static electricity. It was from Faded Friday, I think. Like 2 weeks ago. Traitor. And it's great. Yeah, they're awesome. Armor in PoE is broken. Is it? See, I don't know the game enough to know what broken means. Like, everything is such a severe gamble in the game. I don't know. It's like, I feel like I never know if I'm doing it right. If that makes, like, I never know if I'm live. Everybody rated me. Thank you for hanging out with us today, by the way, my dudes. I appreciate you, and thank you for hanging out with me, everybody in Discord, and playing with me. Just FYI. Thought someone said something. That's just me. No. Thank you. There's Dan. Okay. I'm gonna jump into the movie Discord and leave myself there. I'll see you guys soon. Okay. In terms of you guys, thanks for hanging out today. We went really late today. This game is super fun. I apologize for the audio issues. I don't know why it happened, but I'm glad we were able to fix it with a random ass audio cord. Tomorrow, we're playing with Vissy, so we'll be playing on baby PoE characters, like super baby PoE characters. So if you've been curious to see like what it's just like, I totally will. What it's like to just see leveling characters not at this crazy like just melting everything you come in contact with. It'll be a fun day. I'm excited. So please come by. In the meantime, I'm gonna raid my boy Domestic Dan, who's just hanging out. Father Daniel, domestic father. We don't do daddy. It's too much. Don't forget to take your joy and take care of yourself. Hello, Al, my love. Maybe do give us sockets. For Dan, would he understand? Is he PoEing? Take your joy and drink water. Clean your bongs, clean your water bottle. I'll see you in the morning, maybe. Oh, God.